Right, how you going, guys? So welcome back to NZ Marko Outlaw Kustoms. So this is video 2 of stripping down the Dodge. So yeah, I'll keep this brief. So I think we're going to try and get that front sort of section unbolted, like all the floor and stuff. I think that's where I'm going to head next. So we get this door, work out how to get the doors off and hinges out, so I can at least assess them, see what's going on there, and if we can, try and get the body loose and get the balances out so we can assess them and clean stuff up. But yeah, it looks, the more you look at it, the rougher it gets. You know, you can just see more and more work. I'm actually just looking at this door here with the sunlight on it. I'm actually just looking at this door here with the sunlight on it, the back one. Actually looks like it might be all full of body filler too. Through here. It looks like that might be all rot. Not sure. You know what I mean? When they've bodged some of this other stuff up at some point. Saying in the last video that I wasn't sure when the plastic body fillers started coming out. Apparently the 40s they started developing that sort of stuff, and I think by the time it was sort of mid 50s into the 60s, it was, I wouldn't say it was common, but it was starting to come into play. You know what I mean? Like, I think they probably had a lot of problems early on by what I read, but yeah, it was plastic resin type body fillers around, you know, as far back as the 40s. But I think by the time it was late 50s heading into the 60s, it might have been commonish place, if you know what I mean. You know, it was probably a reasonable 50-50 between that and lead. And then I suppose by the time it got into the late 60s and 70s, you know, body filler was pretty much probably the norm, you know, and the lead was used in custom work, I guess. You know, and as the body fillers got better, well, the hot rod guys and, you know, professional guys were probably used it more and more and more, you know, later on. But yeah, that doesn't, to me, doesn't look terribly good. So anyway, we'll try and get all these doors off and bits and pieces, and then hopefully later on, after probably lunchtime or something like that, depending on how far I get this morning, I need to go pick up some stripper discs. So I was going to grab some the other day when I got the CRC, those poly stripper discs, but they didn't have any. They were waiting on another shipment. They'd ordered some more. So yeah, I'll get some of those, and if we can get the doors and stuff off, at least we can start cleaning some of the shit off and have a decent assessment of some of these panels and try and get some of this crap off. You know, I'll use a wire brush, like twisted wire brush. So I'll put it in my cord grinder and we'll start tearing some of the shit off the body anyway to get a decent look at it. But yeah, I think the more we dive, the deeper it's going to get. Like, I can even see the thing even down in here. I think that's all could be all mud. Hard to say. It's quite pitted, but yeah. I was hoping to be able to save them, but I'm not sure yet. But might be savable. But yeah, because it's got that curve in it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a big pattern for that to at least get the this shape into it. You know what I mean? It curves out like at least an inch. It's a good inch between that surface and that surface, if you know what I mean. So yeah, like you could just make it flat, but then it wouldn't be sort of have that original look, if you know what I mean. But anyway, we will carry on. I'll stop waffling. But yeah, sorry, I just realised the camera was in. Yeah, so yeah, that's like at least an inch. And I'm not sure if you've seen it before or not, but Yeah, like even up the front, looks like there might be body puller in there. When you get it in the right light, you start seeing it, you know what I mean? Anyway, we'll carry on. Right, I just backed this one door stripped. I'm just actually trying to get this out of here, but I think it's, you can see in here, it says like a little tab there. There's one on there too. Can I turn the light on? Yes, I can. So I think that holds that tube in. I was trying to see in there before, but I just couldn't see. Couldn't get the light in the right angle, if you know what I mean. So you got to bend those little tabs up, and then I should better get that collar out for it'll be the door lock, I guess. I would imagine. I'm not really sure. Looks like that. It goes down to where the lock is, so we'll get those tabs bent up, at least I can get that out, and then we can have a quick wee well, I wouldn't say quick, but we'll clean some of the shit off here and just see what's going on, see whether there is any body filler in there, or might be right actually. Let's have a look and just have an assessment. See, somebody's cut a hole down in here at some point. Not quite sure why. Is there a hole in that one? Down there? No, it doesn't look like it, does it? No. So somebody's cut holes in here to gain access to all this stuff before. So we when we repair this, we might try and do something with it. It's obviously not meant to have holes in here, so it's probably not critical, but yeah, at least we can get in there and have a look and tidy it up. We might just put a wee patch in here once we've got it all cleaned up. At least it actually gives you a wee bit of access to make sure it's okay, but it might have had a knock in there and I've pushed it out at some point. But yeah, we'll get those tabs up and we'll carry on. Okay. Oh, it was meant to come out of there. No, it's not. It's in there quite solid. Maybe it's not meant to come out. I think that's welded on there. It'll fit in there. Camera on. I would have thought it was meant to come out, but maybe not. Maybe not. Yes, apparently Dodge doors fit in blasting cabinets. Well, these ones do. I just want to see if I can poke up in there and just have a wee bit of a sandblast and see, clean it up. Where that piece comes down to see whether it actually comes out, see whether it's been like spot welded or something, because I can't. Like I pried on the those little tabs and they don't want to seem to move. So we'll just have a wee pokey up in there. Not for long, but just enough to clean up hopefully. Yes, part of the door. Part of the door, part of the door, part of the door. Right, to me that looks like it's been spot welded. Or something at some point, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that bit does not come out. I thought it must have, but it's a bit weird. Unless that piece is in a little inner sleeve, I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be an internal or an external piece. I might just have another wee pull, just see if that is a separate little piece and then it actually fits into that tube. But yeah, I thought it might have just popped out from the inside like with those little tabs when I initially seen it, but it's actually holding that in there. So yeah, we'll have another wee assess. Yeah, it does come out. Funny what happens when you actually put a bit of shit up there, blow a bit of crap up there. I don't know whether it actually loosened it or not, but it might have just been enough to loosen the shit off there and it let go. As soon as I gave it a wee tug with that again, yeah, it just broke loose, so it's cool. So that's all the crap off the front door. or back, sorry, not back door, front door, back door. So left rear, back door, dodge. So at some point, obviously, we will go through all those bits and clean them all up. That probably, some of the first stuff we had play with will be the hinges, just to see if we can get a better situation. But wherever we dig around this door now, and we'll just do a little bit of assessment, just see what's going on here. That might be just, it might have had a bit of a twist up and a bend up at some stage, and that's probably why they cut those holes in it to bang it out, I think. I thought that might have been full of body filler, but, or it could be, but you know what I mean. We'll tear some paint off here because it doesn't look like it's terribly thick. It might have been repainted, or might have been stripped back and half-ply repainted at some point, but obviously not very well. It's been rush painted or something. You can tell. you probably wet sand it and and make it quite a cool patina old thing. But yeah, it's like it has been. It's almost like it's been stripped, but they just brush painted the fucking thing. Yeah, because it's just fallen off. Oh. Throw the wire wheel back on, we might throw it on the electric grinder, just so I'm not draining batteries flat out, and tear some of the shit off and just have a wee nosy. I'm keen to have a look around this piece first. I might clear some paint off here, assess that, and then we'll do that. I'll do both pieces at once, and then we'll come back and we'll do the talking bit. Righty, so this door's actually in reasonable shape, apart from a bit of, if I can get the light right, a bit of body damage it's obviously suffered here. You know, there's a little bit of, I think it'll be reasonably easy to fix. A little bit of hammer and dialing, you know, we'll check obviously the shape, we'll get a body file on it, obviously make sure, we'll get this stuff fixed first, so we can refit the door back on with the hinges, and obviously make sure everything's fitting properly before we attack, just in case there's something twisted or anything like that, if you know what I mean. You know, because this is all bent out and whatever. But the door's actually in pretty good shape, apart from having it. There's a couple of holes cut in there to obviously access in there at some point. Obviously we're going to have to try and get in, put something in the inside to try and treat rust. It's either that or you pull the skin off, but with being so old, that can be very touch and go. You know, it's a bit like when I started to do the woodwork on that door and I pulled the skin off that and it just split, so we end up having to make a new skin. So yeah, you got to be careful when you start this sort of age, you know, peel it back and it just snaps off because it's so brittle. You know, it'll be work hardened from rattling down roads, you know, for however long it rattled down the roads for. But yeah, we need to get obviously this fixed in here. This is pushed in a bit. Get all this situated back right where it needs to be. Obviously, fix all this rust in here. Obviously down in here. I tried to start cleaning up in here. You know, I haven't gone around the back here yet, but I've stripped the worst of the paint up here so to get a bit of a look. And obviously, apart from the obvious, I haven't found anything else hidden. You know, it'd be nice actually to get in here and give this a clean up. Not quite sure how I'm going to clean that up because it's almost needs probably sandblasted, possibly. Not at high pressure, but enough to clean it off. You know, I can get into wire brush some of it, but some of it, like, I'm not going to get in there to wire brush it very easy, but it needs something. It at least needs, even if it's not a heavy sandblast, enough to get all the crap off and then, you know, treat it and encapsulate on the inside. You know, apart from where we're obviously doing repair work. But yeah, so that's the one door stripped and down to that point. Yeah, it's some pretty reasonable nick. Obviously now, yeah, as I said, you know, we'll need to get inside it and try and treat it, give it a good clean up and whatever. You know, like probably an acid dip or something like that would be really good. But you know, you got to be careful how much money you're spending. Where I don't know what sort of money, you know, they're going to prepare to go to. You know, we're going to be at least, you know, we're going to be heading towards double what I originally quoted, I would think. You know, it mightn't be quite that far, but you know what I mean. We're heading towards that, just with the repair work. You know, it's time. It's time. It's not, you know, like there's a bit of fab, obviously, you know, a few materials, like over here, you can't just go buy sections. You know, by the time I buy something and get it here, if the parts are available, you know, and you guarantee you get here and it's not 100% right, so it's quicker for me to make it, being in this part of the world. But yeah, you know, that escalates quick. You know, you can lose a lot of hours just fixing pieces. You know, it's several more days just in labour alone. You know, you know, at a reasonable rate. You know, like it's what it costs for me to live, what it costs for me to obviously pay when I'm doing this sort of work. I'm paying rent on the building and the power and shit. So you got to have all that involved, you know, you got to have all your materials involved, you know, obviously got to pay taxes. So yeah, you know, like the hourly rate for me to do it plus materials adds up fast. You know, you probably, give or take, roughly for hourly rate materials, you're probably you know, you're probably $100+ an hour, you know, roughly including materials, if you know what I mean, like if you just fractioned it out over time, because a lot of the time you're not going to be using a lot of materials, but then all of a sudden you're going to use $1,000 worth of materials, if you know, like steel and whatever, and you know, sanding discs and paper and those, you know, those stripper discs and all that sort of stuff, you know, like media blast material, paint, you know, that all of a sudden, you know, you're spending thousands of dollars materials where, you know, at one point you weren't. It was probably 90% of it was labour, if you know what I mean, and you know, a couple $100 worth of materials. So like over that time, you know, it averages out pretty quick. So it doesn't take long, you know, over a period of a day, you know, if you average it out, say like $140 an hour for the labour plus materials, it might be more than that, but you know, over a course of an 8-hour day, it disappears pretty quick. You know, you're basically $1,000 a day. You know, it doesn't take long to get rid of it. If you factored in like paint, like I'm talking paint and all that sort of shit, you know, if you factored all that in to like a totally hour rate, you know, if you worked it all out and then averaged it out, you know, you might be $150 an hour, roughly, I would imagine, you know, with just hourly rate plus materials. It would be easy, that, I would say. Sometimes, you know, but yeah. You add that up by 8 hours and then how many hours you think it's going to take to fix it, you know. This speeds fast, real fast. You know, it's not like 10 or 20 years ago where it was, you know, probably the average body shop was doing it for $40 an hour. Those days are gone, you know. Like on average, like, it cost me about $1,300 to run my house a week. To feed us and pay rent and fuel and all the rest of it without anything else on top, you know. So there's a, you know, $1,300, $1,400. Well, it's probably closer to $1,600 by the time I pay tax on that, you know. That comes out of my side of it, you know, with just my wages alone, you know, probably $1,600 a week, and that, you know, without any other costs on top. So yeah, it disappears fast. You know, it's the paint materials and power and rent for the building, you know, as I'm using it, and you know, all the other materials, you know, gas for welders and welding wire, and just, you know, you know, yeah, builds up quick. But anyway, I'll carry on. Right. Apparently that front door's not that hard to get off. You just lift it off. I didn't quite expect that. So yeah, the hinges just lift off and you lift it out. I didn't quite expect it to be that easy. I don't know if that's what it's meant to be like. But yeah. So I'll just, it's interesting to see what we need to do to try and fix these holes in here. Try and make it half decent, if you know what I mean. Actually, one of them meant to be, I would have thought meant to be like a clip or something on the bottom of the legs. May have been originally, I don't know. You know what I mean? But if it's sitting so loose and the way these hinges work in here, like, because it's just the plate It's in there and there's the hole drilled down it and it just sits in it. Yeah, doesn't make a very nice fitment, if you know what I mean. It's just like, I just opened the door and was like, I wonder how that comes off, and I just gave it a pull and I was like, alright. I'll see if I can do it with the front. Better front. It was a bit simpler than I thought, you know what I mean? So it's just like, something like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, just had a couple of washes in there for spaces to use them. So yeah, they come off pretty easy. I didn't quite expect that. It makes them easy to work on, but it doesn't make it very easy to make the doors fit nice. Let's see if we can work out a reason for the solution, at least, or try and find something that's a good fit in those holes. I'm not quite sure how you would enlarge them if you wanted to put slightly bigger pins in. Have to be careful there, but we might better, you know, get these pins out of these hinges, I guess. Get the pins out of these and try and put some decent, or some less worn, I guess, in those holes, and see if we can make them work better anyway. But yeah, anyway, we'll carry on. We'll get the back door off and then we'll strip all these apart, I guess. Get the paint off them. Didn't think they'd be quite that easy to get off the part. That's a bit. Right, so this panel's cleaning up reasonably easy too, not as easy as that other paint. This is old enamel, I would think, or something like that from way back in the day. It's obviously fairly original paint too. Whether it's been this has been repainted at some stage, hard to tell. Looks to me to be original, but it's very hard to tell. But again, this door looks to be in very good shape. Apart from obviously a few bangs and bruises, but nothing major. I think, you know, by the time we actually get some stuff to fit properly, I'm going to work out what I can do with these hinges, a few bits and pieces, and we can get the doors to sit in the door openings properly. Obviously get the body braced up so it doesn't move around quite so much. But there's quite a few, I notice there's actually, now that I look at there's a lot of cracks and stuff in bits and pieces where it's been originally welded and joined together. So that's probably why it's a bit floppy. It's obviously, you know, needs a bit extra repair, bracing and whatever was broken and cracked. But that's no dramas, you know. It's a matter of finding it all and cleaning it all up. You know, probably finding the ends of the cracks if they're in places, you know, drill that, weld it up. You know, drill the end of the cracks, it doesn't go any further if it's in a place where it's will travel. You know, weld it up, all those sorts of things. It'll come along alright. I don't think it's going to be too crazy to get cleaned up. It's definitely not going to be hard to get the paint off it. Like, it's obviously going to be a bit more awkward to clean up around the back, like inside it, and obviously around the back of that panel. But I think for all the alpha stuff, it's going to clean up pretty quick. Hopefully the fenders are not too bad. Just depends. I'll get off what I can with the wire brush, and then I'll get some of those Scotch-Brite pads and we'll condition the surfaces and go from there. Maybe 80 grit or 40 grit on DA or something like that before we obviously get everything ready to start putting any paint near it. Also, we'll do some metal repairs first. You know, bang a few dents out, and then we'll get it prepped for protection so it doesn't re-rust. Righty guys, so I'm going to carry on, just had lunch and whatever. I'm actually the owner, well, I've been talking to about the car anyway. Yeah, he's going to be calling in here a wee bit later on, and obviously have a look at what I've found and see if we can discuss what we're going to do here, and obviously see if I can get some sort of payment worked out for starting on this thing, and obviously see where they want to go. But anyway, I'll carry on getting these doors all cleaned up. I don't know if I'll film much for a wee while. I might just bring you back later on when I've got it. Probably might have all the doors stripped, I suppose. We'll see. I don't think there's much point filming me stripping all 4 doors. We'll get back into it when we maybe do a bit more and see if we can get the body loose and whatever. We'll just see how we get on. There's probably another couple of hours work just cleaning those doors up, maybe a little bit more than that. So that'll be, what's the time now? So the time's about 1 now, so yeah, probably after 3 we'll be having a look, see if we can get this, at least try and get this body a bit more apart and maybe get it loose. We'll see how we get on. Yeah, I might pop the might start popping the windscreen and all that sort of stuff out of it. Well, yeah, and do all that stuff around there, get that out of the road anyway, and see how we get on. Biggest problem is I really need, I'm hoping that, I know he's not going to today, but I'm hoping that sometime shortly he can come and get those seats and those guards and stuff out of the road, because I don't need them. Don't know what they're for, so I don't really want them hanging around here. It's just taking up space, if you know what I mean. I don't have a lot of storage here. Like, I can probably poke some of it somewhere, but yeah, like, I don't need all the excess crap here that doesn't need to be here. That's not part of the, well, it's part of the car, but not part of the car, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not doing anything with upholstery. He can take it away and get somebody to work on it if he wants, or if they want, you know. They might better get it tidied up and do something with it, so at least they can be put back in and used and better looking, if you know what I mean. Even if they want to just, you know, bodgy it up in the meantime so it's usable. And once we get it cleaned up and painted, you know, they might better pop it in, and then they can, a couple of years down the track, they can get the upholstery done if that's what they want to do. But it's no good to me just hanging around here taking up space. I'll end up tripping over it, and like, don't need those fenders. The rest of it can stay, you know, but I don't need just excess shit sitting here. You know, it's alright if you're working on it, but if you're not going to be working on it, well, it needs to be gone. Like a space. If I had the rest of the, if I had all the rest of this, it wouldn't be quite so bad. I tell you what, if I had access to the up here and had a set of stairs ends and have all that stuff, I'd put a lot of that sort of shit up there, if you know what I mean. Like, I'd just put a little, I'd build a little lift thing with an endless chain, with electric endless chain, to I could stack a heap of shit on and lift it up and drag it over there. But yeah, not at this point. So we'll carry on. We'll get cleaned up here and get some more doors and stuff stripped down and get the hinges off, and then yeah, we'll get the, see if we can get the windscreen stuff and bits and pieces out of there and work on, so we can get this body loose and get the balances off it. You know, well, at least try to for the end of the day. We'll see what happens. Righty, so I just had the owner here having a look. Yeah, and we've come up with a bit of a plan. He's going to give me the original mount, and then we're going to go to that when I get them close. Let them know how we're getting on, obviously where we're at, and at that time what I think it's going to take to finish it, and we'll carry on from there, if you know what I mean. So I don't think that's not a bad idea. It gets me going, gives me plenty of money to obviously do what we need to do for a start off. That'll get the grill pretty solid, and it'll get a fair way into the build, into the restoration. But yeah, like, it's not going to complete it, but that'll give me a chance to get all the paint and body filler and all that sort of stuff, and you know, all the materials. It'll be just all the extra labour on top, and probably just a few little other bits and pieces at some other point, you know. But yeah, it'll be the labour that it eats it up. But just discovered something, and it's not something I ever thought, but pretty cool idea. Factory. You know, you're driving along the road, you know, one day back in the 20s, you know, and you think, oh shit, you know, we've been on the road for a while. This looks like a not bad spot to just park up and camp for the night. So if all the upholstery's in there, well, we'll just lie down in the back and have a snooze. Put the curtains up. Can't imagine the frickin' action that happened in the back of this frickin' back in the day, eh? Alrighty, so I remember the other day pulling one of these out of the body out of the car somewhere when I was digging through all the shit. I think I might have thrown it down in amongst this. I don't think I threw it out. But yeah, like, there's a piece of wood in there, and it's like old school, routed. I don't know if somebody's made it and put it in there, or I can just push it back out again. So just jam it back in there. Yeah. It looks like it should be stock, but yeah. So obviously all these doors in it have this piece of wood in there, or somebody's made it and put it in there. Probably to stop stuff from getting trapped down in there, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. I actually thought the other day, because I seen it, and I thought, oh, it might be an armrest or something like that, you know. That might have been screwed onto the body, but onto the door panel, but no. It's almost as interesting as that discovery. Well, that still cracks me up. you know, but you can lay that down. I can imagine it probably would have sat up. I don't know, because obviously the seat probably came out to here somewhere. Sort of sat on there like that, with obviously, and it would have made a quite a decent length bed. You know, if you had to, if you're stuck, well, I wouldn't say stuck somewhere, but you know, you're out in the middle of the road in the middle of the night somewhere. No, it probably wouldn't have been a bad option. It would have been better than trying to sleep in there. You know, just fold the front seat down. As long as you got a screwdriver with you, away you went. That's quite handy, I suppose. You know, if you had the hood up and the sides in, you know, it probably wouldn't be too bad unless it was in the middle of freaking winter in Minnesota. But yeah, I can imagine it probably would have been pretty comfortable when it was first new. That's pretty crazy. I was wondering why it was built weirdly, but yeah, this is actually wood. It's one of the actual few pieces that's wood. I thought it was steel, but no, it's wood. So yeah, it kind of makes me think that this is factory, because it looks like the same timber, if you know what I mean. It's got that similar sort of look about it and grain about it and age about it. Like it definitely wasn't put in there yesterday. Hard to know what it was put in there in the 60s or 70s, but yeah, like it looks 100 years old. And it's got the right sort of nail sort of bit in there to obviously to hold probably upholstery on there or something like that. So yeah, interesting. I have to do a little bit of research with some of that, so those funny little things. Anyway, yeah, I'm just about to strip this door off. Yeah, just with the talking to the owner and a couple other things here. I started cleaning out around the side a bit. Just thought I'd have a bit of a sweep up, but I haven't quite got there. I put some wheels on the bottom of that too because it was empty, because it was so freaking full, and I got sick of dragging across there. Had some spare wheels that don't turn, like don't swivel, so I just screwed them on the bottom. Still better than nothing, if you know what I mean. If I want to move it around, it's easy now. Can't turn it sideways, but what does it matter if you can just push it backwards and forwards? I can just kick it on the side or whatever, or make it just a little bit easier to drag somewhere. That's still, why not? Yeah, not using them, so you know, get pulling this apart, and then that'll probably be the end of the day. Alrighty guys, so welcome back again. So I'm going to carry on, obviously. We'll get this stripped down some more. I'm pretty much finished with the doors. Got a little bit to do in that corner. And we'll just get a bit on the top here, get a bit of shit to clean up there. That was basically done. And then, yeah, I think we'll get the body loose. So I think the plan is, with this body, I actually brought Dad down here last night, so let him have a bit of a look. Because I thought there was something wrong with that fucking board again, but I think it might be a stone or something jammed in chassis somewhere, and it's making a bit of a racket. I thought it might have been a crook shock or a bush or something like that, but no, we think it's stone or something jammed in somewhere. It's running up and down this gravel or unsealed track. Something might have flipped up in there and got jammed, and it's making a knocking noise when you go over rough ground. But anyway, I think what the plan is, once we get the body off, obviously I'll strip the worst of the paint off with wire wheel because it comes off so easy. It's coming off really easy, which is handy. But I think what we'll do is we'll put the body on a trailer off to brace it up between obviously the front and there and there. I'll get some, actually got, I think, if I haven't still got those pieces made up that I screwed onto the Studebaker, what we might do is just, I'll tack weld it onto this once I get it stripped down between obviously the back, middle and the front, so it can't flex. It should be enough to stop it from at least breaking in half. Lift it onto a small trailer or something and take it to the sandblasters, and I think what I'll get them to do is to do all around underneath it, and obviously in round probably wheel arches, and in the back of the body, and obviously up and around the front, but I'll wait for him to do the outside surface, you know what I mean? Well, I might get him just to lightly just blow over that surface, just to heat up a bit, just with the low pressure, but mainly to clean all up that underneath crack, to get it clean, and that'll blow a lot of the shit away, and then I can really see what I've got to work with. And I need to freaking check before a video. It pisses me off. I'm still doing it on this fucking phone. It's a pain in the ass. When I send messages on Voxer, like little video clips, I drop it down to 720, and I always fucking forget to switch it back to high res. Because if I switch it to 720, I can talk for longer and send like clips. A lot of the time it's actually easy to send it through fucking Messenger on Facebook, but sometimes the guys don't see it for a while, whereas I send it on Voxer, it's like comes through like a phone call sort of type thing. It really beeps at you, whereas Messenger doesn't. Well, it can, but you know, I normally have all those notifications turned off. It just flicks up with a little message on the screen instead of freaking beeping at you. But yeah, might as well do. We'll get the windscreen shit out of this thing. Righty, so I'm just taking some shots here just to work this stuff, well, not so much to work it out, so when I come to put it back together later on, we know where all these little freaking linkages go. So this is obviously the accelerator one, which works off the pedal, obviously. And it's got like a little spoon pedal there in the middle. And I'm not sure if that operates. So that's the, oh, it's the bounce on the mag. And I'm not sure, that might be accelerator as well, but it's, yeah, so it's a hand accelerator plus foot accelerator, which is pretty worn. And I reckon this thing's probably done 120,000 miles or more. 125 or whatever the frick it is. 125 basically. I don't know if you can see there, not the glare off there. Hard for me to see. The frickin' light's in the wrong place. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 124. It's definitely not 24. It's too much wear in places, you know what I mean? 24,000 miles is not a lot when it comes to, you know, stuff that's, this isn't too bad though, but that's really quite worn. I know age does a lot too, you know, just straight out age, but like there's a lot of leaks too for 24,000 miles, and a lot of dirt and shit. You know, it's kind of more than that, if you know what I mean. It would be fairly clean, I would imagine. Like, again, age and probably dirty work, but I just can't imagine it all being quite that dirty and grubby for 24,000 miles. It would be more, a wee bit fresher looking, I guess. But anyway, we'll keep plugging away. I've got to undo, fortunately I can actually undo the column here by the looks of it. Much better get into these bolts. Just trying to undo the steering there now. So I should be able to undo this and slip that off, I'm hoping. I might even get away with just that bolt, I'm not sure. May have to undo these. Then hopefully I can, if I undo some of this other stuff, I can pull it all out, if you know what I mean. That's why I was taking some photos of this stuff, so I can undo this and hopefully pull the whole column and everything out and get it out of the road. So run down there because I obviously want to unbolt the dash out as well. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. I just want to take some photos so I remember this shit. That's the biggest advantage of doing the photos and the videos. You know, there's always, if you're struggling to remember how something went together, you know, because that was a real battle because I didn't get to pull it apart. It was already in a million pieces, whereas this is a bit better. It gives a wee more idea. And obviously, you know, you can always look up photos online and bits and pieces. There's bound to be plenty of these 24 Dodges around. So it's not hard to get maybe a photo of the engine bay to work stuff out. But if you've got it on hand, well, you don't have to hunt for it, do you? So, yeah, carry on.
3.
Now, we're getting this fucking bolt. No, nothing.
Make life any easier? A little bit. A little bit.
Right, as you can see, we're getting really close to taking this off. So obviously I got all the dash out. I think I've got most things loose that need to be loose. We'll have to double check shortly. Sorry, didn't bang the band camera. So I'm going to clean some paint off and get this prepped to weld it to the body. I'm going to probably weld it on here, probably on the inside. Here, down here, and here somewhere. So I think this will be strong enough. It's only to stop it from flexing. You know, it's only going to do so much. You know, and then back here somewhere. And obviously same on the other side. The only other thing I've got to do is take the back bolts off. And then I think we should be loose. You know, and obviously a matter of picking some crap up and working out what I'm going to do to put it on something, or whether we just pick it up and put it straight on a trailer. Alrighty, so I'm going to start welding this brace on, and then I'll clean up a bit on the other side, and we'll do the same thing around there. I'm going to take it in a few places, you know, like just do some little short stitch welds that we can cut off and grind off later on. Right, so we're all braced up. In some places it probably looked like I was doing a lot of welding, but I was actually re-welding bits of this because when I put it on the Studebaker, because I use this for Studebaker, some of the plates I screwed them on or bolted onto that, and then I just sort of try to weld it in the best I could within funny places because I couldn't get it in there beforehand, if you know what I mean. So I re-welded some spots and beefed up a wee bit over the year where the bits met. It was a bit weak. So yeah, hopefully this will all come back off again easy enough. But yeah, we should be all fairly well braced up. My wife just all of a sudden got a fucking sore ankle. Must be in the way I was standing or something. So when I was welding here, I was actually welding this up, not. I just put a wee bit of weld on here just to help hold that on there. Not see this like some of the welds look fucking terrible, but it's just the way it sort of is because I haven't got the steel. Well, probably more this than that. Yeah, it was just shitty stuff, but it's enough to hold, obviously. And some of this I re-welded because this wasn't very well attached to it, so I just burned it in nice and hot. Hopefully it holds. So I think that should be strong enough now to lift off and not collapse in on itself or anything stupid or sag, I guess. And that'll keep it reasonably together until we get it back and muck around with this. I'll probably leave this on until we've repaired all this. And obviously if we can get it all repaired underneath and all that sort of stuff, then I can probably blow some stone guard sort of type stuff and paint it, spray it black underneath. And obviously as long as the chassis is sorted, we can probably sit this back on in the meantime, even if it's not bolted down hard. But we can sit it back on, sort of like we did with that, and do the rest of the body work on it, sort of type thing. All but off. All but. I thought that was rotted through on that corner. Well, it is, but it's not. The bolt's still just holding because it's very awkward to get in there to get off. So I have to try and undo it. It's so fucking rotted away. It's just about pulling off, but it just wants to hold, so we'll have to undo that bolt. Thought I might have got away with it, but yeah. So I've got the back up, just sitting on that block of wood. I just lifted up the back through the hole in the back of the body for the spare wheel. I just put I didn't put the chain through it, but I put a bolt through it. Hooked chain around, lifted it up, put the block of wood underneath there, and I'm going to lift this off, and then I'll try and block it up so we can just wheel the chassis out underneath with some blocks and some whatever, so I can get it out. But yeah, I might even shift this to the front, maybe once I get it off, then I can lock it and jack it and freaking whatever, lift it out. But we're not almost there.